hmm, you never get out of a groove. It's always hard. Like, you get into this process of thinking about things, and then you just kind of have to let go of it. It kind of seems like I need a new one. But what should it be about? Oh, wait, I know. We'll do the new groove, The Emperor. Or The Emperor's New Groove game thing. God, I'm not good at making jokes still. Dealing as a kid, I didn't have many games to play, and this is a clear example of what I mean. Being forced to play Disney's The Emperor's New Groove on PC. Yes, I was forced to that. No, in some regard, it's not really that bad of a game when you think about it. Honestly, it's always weird when you think about it. Licensed games are notorious, and I say this with no ironicy here, are genuinely all shit. Mostly. There's usually the asterisk of except Disney games. Usually because they actually put the time and effort. Most of the time, might I add. But hey, still, it's strange how there's not a lot of people talking about older games or basically games that aren't that really that well, but they're not that bad to be like overlooked. So today I thought I would review this game. So, what do I think about it? Well, let's find out. Quick note of thought. You should really and genuinely, when I talk about licensed games, I'm not going to talk about the story. Just a plain rule out there. You know why? Because they're either following the thing they're based on, or they're going to follow something that's not even canon to anything they're doing. So at some level, I don't care, and usually even if they have one that's their own, it's usually garbage. Get the point? So in any case, what do I say about this? I might as well only talk about like the way it handles it, like the way it handles it being a part of a licensed game. I don't like generally seeing licensed games because it's again that connotation. Well, how it handles it is very well. It basically knows it's a game and basically says, "Yeah, we understand. We're all here to play a game." And generally put, it's usually funny. Usually. Times they usually get a little heavy-handed about it sometimes, but hey, they usually do it fine. And yeah, pretty much. So, what do I think about some of the other stuff? Well, let's talk about graphics. Graphically, it's fine for the time, but at the same time, it is for the time, so it's jaggy. But everyone looks like themselves, and usually the characters they are portraying, so I don't mind. So in the end, to me, it's all fine. And that jagginess kind of makes Izuma look even more scary. Terrifying, I tells you. Terrifying. And, yeah. And I also might as well talk about the music, which musically is actually pretty fine. Nothing too memorable, but I would dare say it does its job very well. It knows what it wants to be. It's not going to be the greatest type of music ever, but it is good enough to be like, oh yeah, okay, I can listen to this while I play. Because usually some people forget that we're listening to it while we play. And usually, if the music isn't annoying, it's either not important or it's good enough to be like, wow, that's some good music. Which I did say for like the beginning track of the first level, but we'll talk about that later. Well, let's actually get to the gameplay side because like it's important to talk about that. Well, you already know this is, but well, technically this is before the era of. Well, I might also have to add now that I also played the PS1 version, which you can get on the PS3. Yeah, a little under $7. Not a bad price in my opinion. But yeah, just note I'm going to talk about the PS1 control, but also because I generally lost the PC game, and even then I I had it before a little bit and tried it on my new laptop. Did not work. So even if I had it again, that would still mean I would have to find somehow to make it work, and I don't have the time for that. I don't think a lot of people have the time to do that type of thing. I generally don't think so. But in any case, yeah, the gameplay again PS1, and this was before analog. So basically, the D-pad does make you move in all the direction. 360, so you know. Okay, sorry. The back bumpers allow you to control the camera, though they're inverted for some reason. I don't know why someone would think that's a good idea. Okay, and the X button is your normal jump button. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is a platformer because we all needed a lot of those games back in the day. Truly. Circle is your interact button, which basically allows you to talk to people or attack, which you get your normal karate attack. Or if you're moving, you can roll, which is pretty useful at times. And if you jump and use it, press the button. Sorry, I'm saying that's weird. Basically, you could do a karate kick. And yes, you will die if you're not using it properly. Oh, how I felt. Square basically allows you to charge as long as you use Llama Potion just to basically charge. I don't know why it had to be Llama Potion, but at this point, it's a question you don't need to ask. It's a game, and he kind of already knows it's a game, so again, it works fine enough. Then you got Trying, which is basically your view button, which should allow you to look around the level, and if later on in that first few levels you get a grapes, which llamas are actually well known for spitting. Yeah. So basically, Cusco just basically uses his spit to just attack enemies sometimes. It doesn't work on all enemies. It's usually good as a stun, but in certain levels it's important to use it, so that way you can get around platforming. So be aware of that. And that's generally it. And other parts of other levels, it does change a bit, but they're either not that important to the change, or basically, again, not important.
6 hours later.
Now I'm going to talk about the level design, which I usually don't talk about. Level design wise, it's actually pretty fine. Yeah, the first part is usually your basic beginner tutorial level where basically you're trying to get used to all the controls and all the gimmicks of levels, and usually each level has a gimmick to themselves, so be aware of that. And usually each one is unique enough to make sure that the player doesn't feel bored by using them or playing by it. Except maybe the second to last one, maybe, and I mean zone, not level, because sorry. Point being, the second to last zone is terrible in my mind. It's the most slog of a part of the game, and generally put, even if you do play it, I still recommend you don't, and just try to skip it or use a guide. Yes, I'm being serious. Though then again, that's just again my opinion. Usually the second level is fine. It gets a little ramped up, and there's like a few problems, but I'll go over that during my time about talking about the problems of the game. So be aware of that. So yeah, each level is fine. They all have their gimmicks, which is always important to have so that the player doesn't stay bored. Some of the level designs change because of it. Like, for example, in the third world, I think, yes, it was the third world, where basically now you're on, basically, if you don't remember the scene, basically Cusco and Pacha, I actually completely forgot his name a while back when I was originally recording this until I got a new mic. Basically, they got tied up to a log and are heading down a waterfall. But yeah, they somehow extenuate that for a whole few levels, which is fine in my opinion, because it'll add some more depth to the game that desperately does need it. And generally put, it's not bad design. It's really good, though at times it gets a little what the heck. But hey, still, good level design. Now I'm going to generally talk about the kind of minor problems of the game, but, well, there wasn't really anything game breaking or making me so irritated that it prevented me from playing it or wanting me to continue on. It was just usually these slight annoyances that prevented it from being great. So, okay, here we go. First off, with the game's difficulty, which, in all honesty, was all over the place in times. For example, the first few levels are easy, and the other ones and the next few ones are easier until you reach a gimmick level, or a level that is just basically one big gimmick. For example, in the jungle level, where basically you have to run from the jaguars, I think, panthers. I can't remember. I wouldn't know. I'm not a taxonomy guy. Where basically you're running through them using the lumber potion or charge gauge to run away, where basically it's always resupplying if you're pressing the button, unless you're using an autofire, which I always use now. Because screw levels like that preventing you from even playing it properly if you didn't have one. And I mean, like, when I was a kid, this always caused a problem because, like, I always try to press it to run away because, like, it's always hard not to press it at a fast enough pace just to work. But yeah, point being, that gimmick could have really been shortened down, or better yet, could have been changed a bit. So yeah. Let's see. The boss fights weren't that hard. Generally put, even the final level, which was actually the best one, in my opinion, boss fight was pretty lackluster. It was a race against Isma in her cat form, but again, I've generally put it that I'm not gonna I'm spoiling anything. If you've seen the movie, you've already been spoiled on this. If not, go watch it. It's a good movie. But point being is, it's a race, though she has it easy. Though then again, it's already easy as is. Generally put, the whole level is generally too easy, and generally put, I could put that throughout the entire game. That each level is generally too easy. I hardly ever died, and even when I died, which I got 5 hit points, which that's generally helpful for newer players, and generally does help people play a game. You can use a Whompy. I don't know why they call it that, but the point being, the game's too easy, and sure, they don't hand out enough Whompies at times, but I generally said to myself, why do I need them? There's not many reasons to have one, so why? So yeah, think about that for a little bit if you want. But in any case, still a problem. Another small problem is the Kronk races. What are those? Basically, at certain levels, Kronk will start to try to race you while you're in a turtle form. And yes, it is a bit slow. Though Cusco gets on a shell and basically just rides on, which just basically helps a lot of the level. Which basically you're going down a slide and you're trying to beat him down a hill like area, but it changes depending on certain things. But in any case, very helpful. These levels do again add variety to a game that would have been boring if not. But there are collectibles in the game. Yes, this is a collectathon-ish game where there are secrets, but you don't need them, nor should you try to find them. I mean, like, if you can have If they're easy to reach, you can go get them. But if they're not usually worth the dime because you usually just need them to build up your charge gauge, which fills up every 5 coins. But even then, again, it's not really that pointful. Pointful? Is that even a word? But in any case, yeah, that's generally it. There's nothing really else about this game that's generally worth your time. So, but in any case, let's really get to my final thoughts. Generally put, this game is just average. A little above average at times, but still average. Or I would generally put it as a... I'm still trying to think about it. But I think I would remove my scoring. But my point being is, if you ever get a chance to play it, you can go ahead and play it. But if you want to play something else, you're not missing much. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a good game, but if you wanted to play something else, you would rather want to play something else. It's, again, not bad, but again, nothing of higher quality. It's serviceable, and that's the kind of thing that's kind of sad nowadays. We have a lot of serviceable games that are just basically not in that high class thing, but nothing of the low quality. Which is kind of sad because we need more games like that. Games that can just fill this niche that people want. But in any case, doesn't really matter in the end. So, yeah, should you play this? Sure, but if you don't want to, that's fine. So, what's in it for next time? Well, like I said last time in my one-shot of Ragnarok, I said I would review Toriko for my one-shot review series. Which I'm trying to, like, alternate between two. Like, I'm trying to alternate between game review, one-shot, game review, one-shot. So, basically, you understand what I'm going to do. So, for the next game review, I plan on reviewing something... Well, maybe doing some videos back in the old days. Maybe. Then, or I will review... you know, you never know what you're going to review, so let it be a surprise. See you next time, and remember, the true wise man once said, I don't know, but let's try to find out.